In our lifetime, we absorb facts, information, and skills. We get our theoretical and practical understanding through education and experience. It's called knowledge. Welcome to television's longest-running high school quiz show, Knowledgeable. Let's join two of our 16 competing Northeast Michigan high schools and our host, Astrid Fitzpatrick, for today's match.
Hello and welcome to Knowledgeable, Michigan's longest-running quiz show. I'm your host, Astrid Fitzpatrick, and today we have our Division I playoffs between Standish, Sterling, and Tawas. We'll start by introducing our teams, beginning with Tawas.
David Martin, sophomore.
Kyle White, senior.
Nathan Kane, senior.
Nicholas Hemker, senior.
Stephen Young, senior. Bryce Moon, freshman.
And they're joined by their coach, Suzanne Berzakowski, and our team from Standish, Sterling.
Joe Gelman, senior.
Mackenzie Barton, sophomore.
Katie Van Haren, junior.
Isabella Karjaleski, senior.
Ben Gelman, freshman.
Nicole Poyer, junior.
Olivia Wilder, freshman.
And they're joined by their coach, Jennifer Gelman. I'd also like to thank our judges, Matthew Fitzpatrick and Dylan Arthur, for being here today. Our first round is the toss-up round, but before we start, here are the rules.
Round 1 is a toss-up format. A question will be asked, and the first competitor to ring in has the opportunity to answer the question. If a correct answer is given, the team is awarded 10 points. No consulting is allowed. If the answer is incorrect, then the question goes to the opposing team to answer.
All right, let's get started. The name of what orchestral instrument in its literal translation means small? Nathan?
Piccolo.
That's correct. What scholarly American president was the author of An Old Master and Other Political Essays, The State, A History of the American People, and Constitutional Government? Kyle?
James Madison.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish?
Thomas Jefferson.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was Woodrow Wilson. The early Roman Republic elected 2 consuls to head the government for a 1-year term. Why did they elect 2? Nathan?
In case of a death.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Joe?
So one didn't have too much power?
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was if one went to war with Rome's citizen army and one stayed to run the city. Andrew Mellon began as a banker, but he bought a process for making a certain metal and converted this knowledge into a rich monopoly. What? Mackenzie?
Steel.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. What metal did he capitalize on? Kyle?
Aluminum.
That's correct. What day is literally selling day in French because it was market day? David?
Black Friday.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? And the correct answer was Friday, or vendredi. A straight line has a slope of -2 and a y-intercept of 5. What are the coordinates of the point at which the line crosses the x-axis? Kyle?
-3/2.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Right, the correct answer was -2.5 and 0. This patented process for making color motion pictures was first used in a full-length film in 1917. Many films using the technique were made in the 1930s and 1940s, but it has largely been replaced by simpler and less expensive color film processes. Can you name it? Nathan?
Technicolor.
That's correct. What item of the 17th century English male fashion was powdered with rice meal and wheatmeal? Mackenzie?
A wig.
That's correct. Which of the following would be most effective in combating acid rain? Burn only coal in power plants, use only electricity for all power needs, burn only petroleum in power plants, or reduce emissions from the burning of all fossil fuels? Nathan?
Reduce emissions.
That's correct. Just signing your name and filling out the forms correctly will get you this, the lowest SAT score. Mackenzie?
300.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Kyle?
900.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was 400. There are 4 major Celtic languages. 2 of them are varieties of Gaelic. Name any 3 of the 4. Right, the answers we would have accepted were Breton, Irish, Scottish, and Welsh. Give the word and its spelling. The removal of an evil spirit by ritual prayer. Kyle?
Exorcism. E-X-O. No, I'm sorry. Can I restart? E-X-C-E-R-C-I-S-M.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Joe?
Exorcism. E-X-O-R-C-I-S-M.
That's correct. The National Technical Information Service, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the Minority Business Development Agency. Which executive department administers these agencies? Nathan?
EPA.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Joe?
Department of the Interior.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was the Department of Commerce. Name the only state where bald eagles are found in abundance. Nathan?
Alaska.
That's correct. If the shorter leg of a 30, 60, 90 degree triangle has length 4, how long are both the longer leg and the hypotenuse? Kyle?
4 square roots of 3 and 28.
Judges? Okay, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Right, the answer we were looking for was 8 and 4 times the square root of 3. Any minerals formed by the direct union of an element with oxygen is classified as what? Joe?
An oxide.
That's correct. What type of cell is a gamete? Kyle?
A reproductive sex cell.
That's correct. This LA landmark was originally built to promote a real estate development. Name it. David?
Sign.
That's correct. Which commonly used theory, named after a Swedish chemist, states that an acid is a substance that yields hydrogen ions in an aqueous solution? Nathan? Sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Okay, the correct answer was the Arrhenius theory. That's all we have for our first round. We'll be right back with some updated scores. Welcome back. So far we've got a score of Tawas with 70 and Standish Sterling with 30. Our next round is the bonus round, but before we start that, here are the rules.
This is the bonus round. It consists of toss-up questions, as in round 1. However, this is the twist. The team answering correctly then gets 4 bonus questions. For each question answered correctly, a series of points will be awarded. Team members can consult, but only the team captain can answer the question. After an incorrect answer, the toss-up portion begins again for both teams.
Okay. The Bible was written in 3 languages. Hebrew and Greek were 2. Name the third. Nathan?
Latin.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Right, the correct answer was Aramaic. In addition to the seasonings, name any 2 of the 3 ingredients of hollandaise sauce. Hint, they're all yellow. Nathan?
Egg yolk. And butter.
That's correct.
Yes.
Right, I'll give you the dates, and you name the U.S. president. 1801 to 1809.
After Jefferson.
Before Madison, it was Monroe.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. The correct answer was Jefferson. A river's water comes from a combination of rainfall, lakes, springs, and melting ice and snow. What are the streams that flow from the river's source called? Mackenzie?
Tributaries.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Tawas? Nathan?
Runoff.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was headwaters. There are 5 chemical elements classified as halogens. What does halogen mean? Kyle?
It's 1 electron short of being a noble gas.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Okay, And the correct answer was salt producer. How many ways are there to roll a 7 with 2 dice? Kyle?
6.
That's correct. Okay, each of these answers must start with an A and end with TION, like attention. Getting used to the weather conditions in a new area is called?
Acclimation.
That's correct. A ghost or phantom is also called?
Apparition.
That's correct. A fancy word for betterment is?
Come on, Greg. Pass.
Pass.
You didn't pass these ones.
Absidation.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. The correct answer was amelioration. It kills more than 5,000 Americans a year. Only traffic deaths and falls cause more accidental fatalities. What are we talking about? Nicholas? I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? The correct answer was drowning. Which term beginning with the letter A describes the relationship between a function f and a function g if the first derivative of f is equal to g? Okay, the correct answer was antiderivative. In what biome would you expect to find only the following types of plants? Dwarf herbs, dwarf shrubs, and lichens. Oh, Kyle?
Tundra.
That's correct. Okay, figure out the answer to these arithmetic problems. What is the reciprocal of 5?
1/5.
1/5.
That's correct. If the sales tax rate is 4%, what is the tax on a $5 purchase?
20 cents.
20 cents.
That's correct. Express 166% as a decimal.
1.66.
1.66.
That's correct. And what is the decimal equivalent of the fraction 1/5?
0.2.
0.2.
That's correct. Okay. In shampoo, what purpose does the ingredient selenium sulfide serve? Kyle?
Preserve the hair.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Katie?
It foams.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect.
No.
The correct answer is that it prevents dandruff. Okay. You light a campfire and the smoke rises straight up into the air. How would you classify the wind in your area on the Beaufort scale? Kyle?
0.
That's correct. Okay, these are American history questions relating to the colonial period. Son of a noted Puritan clergyman and writer, this Boston minister was a noted leader in the persecution of witches in the 1693 Salem trials.
Crucial. Who was it?
Hale. Reverend Hale.
Reverend Hale.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. The correct answer was Cotton Mather. What is the name for a place where coins are legally made? Kyle?
Mint.
That's correct. Okay, define these bureaucratic abbreviations. FDIC.
Federal Department of...
No, it's the bank thing.
Yeah.
Federal
What's-
Deposit of...
Insurance. Federal.
Okay, and the correct answer was Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. There are 2 acceptable plurals for the word matrix. Spell both. Nathan?
MITRXES.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Joe?
MATRIXES, MATRICES.
That's correct.
So we could talk that.
Okay, I'll name the battle and you supply the respective war. Chateau Theory.
Theory. It's a battle.
Theory.
World War II.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. The correct answer was World War I. Besides doing the actual division, what is the quickest way to determine whether a number is divisible by 9? David?
If the digits add up to 9.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Joe?
If it's divisible by 3, a multiple of 3 times.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was if the sum of the digits is divisible by 9. How would the United States wineries survive 13 years of prohibition? Hint, those that stayed in business switched to another product. Nathan?
They made non-alcoholic wine, grape juice.
That's correct. Okay, name these notorious literary characters. What miser hated the Christmas spirit until ghosts reformed him?
Scrooge.
That's correct. Name the villain whose insinuations drove Othello to murder Desdemona.
Oh gosh, darn it.
Frederick.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. The correct answer was Iago. Right, and that's all we have for our second round. We'll be right back with some updated scores. Welcome back. So far we've got a score of Tawas with 200 and Standish Sterling with 40. Our next round is the 60-second round, but before we start that, here are the rules.
This is our 60-second round. The team with the lowest score selects from one of the 4 categories of 10 questions. The team that has 60 seconds to answer as many questions as possible. Each correct answer is worth 10 points. Any missed questions will then be answered by the opposing team. An additional 20-point bonus is awarded for answering all 10 questions correctly.
We're also joined by alternate Stephen Young on Tawas' side. And we'll start with Standish Sterling, who's chosen the category In Other Words. Where there is sufficient positive volition, a successful conclusion may usually be expected.
Like where there's a will, there's a way.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
That's correct. Exercise your visual faculties prior to executing a bound.
Look before you leap.
Look before you leap.
That's correct. The stylus is more important than the claymore.
The sword is mightier than the pen.
The pen is more important than the
Sword,
sword.
yeah.
The pen is mightier than the sword.
That's correct.
Stop
A
saying
vocable to the sapient is adequate.
To the sapiens. Adequate.
That's a monkey.
Skip.
Skip.
Permit the immersement to coincide with malfeasance.
Take the good and bad.
That's not even a pass.
Pass.
Okay. Each mass of vapory collection suspended in the firmament has an interior decoration of metallic hue.
Each
Every cloud has a silver lining.
That's correct. Deviation from the ordinary or common routine is that which gives zest to a man's cycle of existence.
It's pass.
And Tawas. A vocable to the sapient is adequate.
Pass.
Pass.
Permit the immersement to coincide with malfeasance.
Pass.
And deviation from the ordinary or common routine is that which gives zest to a man's cycle of existence.
Adventure is the spice of life.
Judges?
I don't know the first word.
Okay, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. And then we'll go to Tawas, who's chosen the category quadrants. X equals -3.
It'd be 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Judges? Okay, that's correct. Y equals x squared minus 2.
It'd be 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Y equals root of x plus 2.
1.
1.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Y equals 2x plus 5.
1.
1.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Y equals negative root of x plus 5.
2.
2.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Y squared equals x minus 3.
Pass.
Pass.
4x squared plus 9y squared equals 36.
Being all 4, yeah. Okay, just let the timer run.
All 4.
That's correct. Y equals 4x cubed.
3.
Sorry, that's incorrect. And Standish. Y equals x squared minus 2.
All 4?
That's correct. Y equals root of x plus 2.
Just 1? 1?
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Y equals 2x plus 5.
1 and 3?
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Y equals negative root of x plus 5.
4?
I'm sorry, that's
I think
incorrect.
it's 1.
Y squared equals x minus 3.
Y equals root of x minus 3.
I don't know, 1.
1 and 4?
That's correct. And y equals 4x cubed.
1 and 3?
That's correct. And that's all we have for our third round. We'll be right back with some updated scores. Welcome back. So far we've got a score of Tawas with 220 and Standish Sterling with 110. Our last round is a toss-up round, just like the first round, so we'll go ahead and get started. Arrange the following 4 Mediterranean islands in order from west to east: Sicily, Crete, Sardinia, and Cyprus. Kyle?
Sicily, Crete, Cyprus, Sardinia.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? The correct answer was Sardinia, Sicily, Crete, and Cyprus. What word describes the census and any other occurrence that happens every 10 years?
Survey.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Joe?
Decannual.
That's correct. Which objects appear to move most swiftly across the sky? Comets, asteroids, meteors, or meteorites? Kyle?
Comets.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Joe?
Meteorites.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. The correct answer was meteors. How long are the sides of a rectangle if the length is 5 inches longer than the width and the perimeter is 50 inches? Kyle?
One of them would be 15, the other would be 10.
That's correct. What Chinese leader declared war can only be abolished through war? Kyle?
Mao Zedong.
That's correct. This word for an old friend or an old chum comes from the Greek word for time. What is it? The correct answer was crony. On the banks of which New York River is the United Nations building located? Kyle?
The Hudson River.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? The correct answer was the East River. The Great Gatsby is a novel by what author? Kyle?
Fitzgerald.
That's correct. If you were writing a letter to your senator, what would the form of address be on the envelope preceding his name? Kyle?
Mr. or Miss.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Katie?
Senator.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer is the honorable. And how would the salutation read? Kyle?
To whom it may concern.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Joe?
Regarding.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was Dear Senator, or Sir or Madam. What term used in math is represented by an exclamation point and refers... Kyle?
Radical.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Joe?
Factorial.
That's correct. What variety of canned milk has about half the water of fresh milk and contains added sugar? Kyle?
Evaporated milk.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Joe?
Powdered milk.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was condensed milk, or sweetened condensed milk. One of Benjamin West's better-known works depicted the death of General Wolfe at what battle? The correct answer was the Battle of Quebec in the French and Indian War. You are flowcharting a computer program. What is the shape designated for a decision statement? Kyle?
Equal sign.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Mackenzie?
A rectangle.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was a diamond or a rhombus. Roemer's method of measuring the speed of light involved measuring the time of an eclipse for one of the moons of which planet? Kyle?
Jupiter.
That's correct. Originating in India, this invention made its way to Europe by the end of the 13th century. It included the first mechanical belt drive in history and was also one of the first mechanical means... Nathan? I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Means of lightening women's work. Identify this device which was used in the textile industry. Katie?
Sewing machine.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Correct answer was the spinning wheel. To which city did the U.S. government move in 1790? Kyle?
New York.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Joe?
Philadelphia.
That's correct. Define exceed. Kyle?
To go above and beyond.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? And the correct answer was to agree, to yield, or to approve. And how do you spell exceed? Stephen?
Exceed. E-X-C-E-E-D.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Joe?
AXCEED.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was ACCEDE. Translate the following Spanish sentence. ¿Dónde fue el accidente? Katie?
Where did the accident go?
I'm sorry, that's incorrect.
Where was the
Kyle?
accident?
That's correct. The sine of what obtuse angle equals the cosine of 35 degrees? Kyle?
145.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? The correct answer was 125 degrees. How many electrons are there in the L shell of such elements as curium, francium, berkelium, americium, lawrencium, and fermium? Kyle?
5.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Joe?
4.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer is 8. This is a breeding ground or colony of gregarious birds or mammals, such as penguins or seals. What is it called? Joe?
Clutch.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Tawas? The correct answer was the rookery. If your doctor told you you suffered from ischemia, you would know that you had an obstruction of the blood supply. Spell ischemia. David?
I-S-C-H-Y-M-I-A.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Standish? Joe?
ISHEMIA.
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was ISCHEMIA. Two of the largest and most powerful American Indian groups lived in New York before European settlers arrived. One was the Iroquois, named the other. Joe?
Manhattan.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. And Kyle?
The Ottawas?
I'm sorry, that's also incorrect. The correct answer was Algonquin. And that's all we have for our final round. We'll be right back with the final scores. Welcome back. Our final scores are Tawas with 270 and Standish Sterling with 140. So congratulations to our winners today from Tawas. Join us next week when we'll have Hale versus Roscommon for the Division II playoffs. And I'll leave you with a quote from Carl Jung: "Knowledge lies not in truth alone, but in error also. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's why they put the little erasers on pencils." Have a nice day.